Welcome back to Crit and Crit. I'm Axion.
I'm Scint.
And we are continuing our way through EG and our discussion of Ender's Game.
Oh look, an alien flagship. This will end well.
We're starting to get into the part of the game
Uh-oh.
that I don't remember super well.
I will not spoil it for people who are not familiar with the game, because I really, really like this game. And I do like that, like, there are a lot of games that say they have multiple endings, different paths you can take, and so on and so forth. This one, most of it stays the same, but there are very, very distinct story beats that change depending on how you play the game. And, yeah. So, they actually kind of, that little cutscene sets up our new topic pretty well. Because as you saw, a character called Leosa, who we haven't met yet, had turned to someone and said, well, now the burden is not on your shoulders, because remember, what we did was send up a distress call. So now we have the Komato fighting the Taser. We brought the Komato down on the Taser.
Yep,
Fight aliens with aliens.
I'm not going to try and fight them. I'm going to just let them fight each other.
Well, there you go. Go pick up the XP afterward. But yeah, last time we talked about the portrayal of... I would actually jump on that first. Because I don't know if you can make that jump without it.
Thank you.
But the portrayal of geniuses in fiction, but kind of touched on this a little bit when I brought up the character of Peter Wiggett. Because Peter is a very, very clearly portrayed, if one note, sociopath. He is extremely good at knowing exactly how to spin things. Like, when we first meet him, he is threatening to kill Ender and just saying, I could kill you right now. I could say it was an accident, I didn't mean to, I'm so sorry, I never meant for it to happen. He only stops when Valentine brings up, as mentioned before, I have a dead man switch. If I don't check in at the library, they have a record of everything you've ever done. So, sociopaths that find themselves in positions of power. This is not at all uncommon in fiction. They make very, very good villains who are very, very easy to make hateable, and you are going to want to move because there is no one else down here for him to target. But, yeah, because, well, sociopaths by definition, like, lack empathy, or at least do not care when they are caught doing something wrong so long as they are able to keep doing what they're doing. It is very, very easy to make them an unsympathetic villain to be opposed by your hero. Ouch.
I was not watching my health.
Well.
That is a creepy death screen.
Yeah. It's nowhere near as bad as Missile Command was. That terrified me when I was a kid.
I don't think I've ever played that.
Oh, okay. Not to sidetrack on that, but basically, if you fail to defend all of your little cities from the missiles coming above, like, the screen, you get the screen that just flashes bright red and white end. Like, just... yeah. So, Ender Wiggett has two older siblings who, which we'll talk about this in more detail a bit later, use social media to get themselves into positions of very powerful social influence. This is Peter's idea, and as mentioned, Peter is a sociopath. Peter knows exactly what buttons to push to get the right reactions from people. So this was, of course, this was his whole brainchild. He just wanted Valentine to play against him so that Locke and Demosthenes did not sound like they were written by the same person, even though he basically told Valentine he was right.
Yep. And there's a hint of a bit of Peter going the whole, I get bored without a worthy opponent sort of thing.
Yeah, this is all like entertainment and what can I get out of it for Peter. He doesn't really care about what's wrong and what's right. He's just like, well, I can tell people what to do now because I am smarter and therefore better than them, etc., etc. And, well, we've already seen he is more than willing to hurt people when he doesn't get his way. Because he basically terrorizes both of his younger siblings. He washed out of battle school because, not because, like, ironically, it wasn't because he was a sociopath, that they thought he'd be too cruel. It was that they did not think he would be able to command the respect of his troops.
Yep.
Because, well, if you're going to spend a lot of time with your commander, and you notice that they are an awful person, no matter how effective they are, eventually you are going to lose respect for them. Which is probably why Peter thought it was smart to use an alias for his social media stuff. Besides the fact that, you know, age 12.
I don't want to fight you.
For XPs.
I can get plenty of XPs from the Tazo.
Sorry, not XP. Nano. We have to use our terminology.
Oh hey, I can kick those guys down. Oh, I can't kick him. He kicks me first.
Not yet. I've never gone in for a full strength build on EG. I just don't like getting that close. Yeah, but it's not just Peter that we see this in. Remember, the whole focus of the story is military top brass decides it's a good idea to weaponize a small child into being able to take out an entire alien race in what he is told is, 1, a training simulation, 2, defensive, and turns out to be neither a simulation nor defensive. It is a full offensive, we are the invaders. And what kind of person do you have to be to say, yes, let's destroy the psyche of a child for this?
I'm just gonna let these guys fight among themselves.
It's like, every chapter opens with an interlude from our military higher-ups, who are talking about Ender's progress and whether or not the plan will work and what they have to do to fix it, and a few times they do call each other monsters for what they're doing to this poor kid. They know what they're doing is not defensible.
Yep.
They're doing it anyway. They are court-martialed as a result, but they are ultimately acquitted, which, yeah.
I didn't want to fall through there.
Oh well.
Now I'm back with this guy. I did not want to be here. I did not want to be here. I did not want to be here. Escaped!
Up, you can go back up and try again if you want.
Yeah, I missed a jump. But yes,
I noticed.
And the commanders multiple times talk amongst themselves about how monstrous they're being, and how if it wasn't for the safety of the world and all of that sort of thing, that what they're doing would be utterly indefensible. But because it is for this or that, that is for the good of humanity, the greater good.
Here we go with that again.
And yet, how fitting is it? Is it inappropriate? No, leave me alone. I really do not want to fight you. We are on the same side here.
Well, that's a Komato.
I know. That's what I was saying earlier, is I only want to fight the 1,000. Just gonna leave the Komato alone. I need to crank up my Komato points.
Yeah, it kind of gets into just a lot of interesting territory. Oh, can't go that way. Because, well, as we mentioned before, like, children in war is kind of a war crime. Child soldiers are never going to end well. Ender is probably the clearest example of that. Like, the poor kid is beyond broken by the end of the story. Like, and all he wants is just, like, to be useful in some way, but, well, he basically finds right at the end that nobody really wants him on Earth anymore. He was a useful tool to them, and now that he has become the tool they want him to be, the leadership's just like, no, can't be bothered. We broke you, and we don't want to be held responsible for doing that. We don't want to look at you and see what we put a face to what we've done. So, child who is no older than 10, figure it out. That's why Ender leaves. Valentine at least wants him around. Even though he feels kind of manipulated by her. But what else is he going to do at that point? He's kind of ruined.
And it's clear that it takes Ender some time to forgive Valentine for what she's done, even if he does eventually come around to it. And I'm not sure he ever forgives Peter. At best, they come to an understanding.
Like, I don't think he forgives the military leadership for just, you know, like, hey, we trained you for this, and now we're just going to pretend you don't exist anymore because you're an inconvenience.
Yep, you're a hero. We'll show videos of what you did and praise your name, and you'll go down in history as an important heroic person. But I mean, we saw this with Mazer Rackham. I did not want to do that. I did not want to do that.
Probably did.
I was happy to leave those 3 in there and just let them sit.
I think you need to go that way, though.
That is what I was afraid of. But anyway, we saw this with Mazer Rackham. He pulled a surprise maneuver that basically saved his entire squad. He went down in history as this amazing, heroic soldier, and his reward for it was to get stuck on a backwater meteor-turned research station where no one would ever see him again, and to get sent on a faster-than-light trip that would basically make sure that he was still alive by the time it came time to train Ender. And other than that, as far as the world knew, he no longer existed. He was a historical figure with no further relevance.
Yep, and also we can kind of see this in how they play out with other military members as well, because the poor pilot who has to take Ender out to that base is not told where they are going until they've already set off for that, realizes where they're going, and is then basically summarily informed, oh yeah, by the way, you'll be transferred out here permanently now because no one can know where this is.
Yep, and your family will be told that you have been basically removed from service.
So yeah, that's the leadership, who says they're going to save Earth, when we learn at the end that Earth didn't really need saving. So, oh, that was going to say that's a bad place to stand. But yeah, that's kind of where we leave things now with that. It's just the kind of people who gravitate to positions of power naturally are often not the people you want in power if you are an average person. Because the average person is nothing to a sociopath. Statistics doesn't matter.
They are a tool at best.
You are a tool. Yeah, you are a tool, you are a resource. You are not a person, even though most positions that these people end up in fiction would be considered public servants. Nominally. So that's kind of the world of Ender's Game right there. Is just, I'm not sure if it was the intent that Card had to basically be a cautionary tale about putting sociopaths in a position of power, especially where they can control information as thoroughly as they do. So, yeah. Don't know what else to add.
I mean, I guess the next logical place to go would be to talk about Peter. And so, to give kind of a
switch weapons.
Thank you. That wasn't quick enough. Up! killed him with the little leeches. Awesome. Now leave me alone, please.
But you have Nano and we want it.
I know you do. I don't want to give it to you.
Why not?
Because it hurts me.
That's okay.
That's what I was afraid you'd say. Anyway,
you have explosive shotgun right now. Let's use that.
how do you use
Go
it?
use shotgun 1. It's your main one.
Oh. Sorry, I thought I was on the shotgun.
Nope, it said machine. Careful.
You know what?
It's
I
useful
don't
when
like
you're not
that
in close
weapon.
quarters.
I don't like
well,
that.
the power-up wore off. Like, that's what I was saying, like, you had the nano upgrade of explosive shotgun for a short time. So I was like, you could use that like a rocket launcher. You just gotta be careful and more situationally aware. But yeah, Peter becomes the hegemon of Earth because he figured out how to social media his influence to a place that could not be denied. Peter, who again was introduced threatening to kill his 6-year-old brother just because he didn't like him for whatever reason.
Mostly just because he found him annoying, I think. He didn't care for Ender. He took attention away from Peter. He diverted attention for Peter away from his parents, and especially from Valentine. And I always got the impression that Peter disliked the fact that Valentine liked Ender more than him. And I get the impression... Huh?
Probably.
Yeah, I get the impression that he also sees Ender as stealing his opportunity. Oh, right, I'm back in the bugs.
Yeah,
because Ender
I could see that.
got the position that Peter was deemed unsuitable for.
Well, remember, Peter resented Ender before that. Before Ender was chosen.
Right, but I'm
yeah.
saying... I think that made it worse. And
Probably.
also, I think he was... I get the impression that he was annoyed that they even tried again after he failed. And it was bad enough. It was bad enough that they tried again with Valentine, but I get the impression that he was kind of like, well, there's a second, you might as well try. But then his parents get this special permission to have a third child, which is completely prohibited in the society. And I get the feeling that Peter saw that as the ultimate... that was bad timing. As even bigger of an insult. Because... it was bad enough that they tried again with the child they were already allowed to have, but now they get this special permission to have a child that no one else is allowed to have, and that child succeeds where he failed. And even before he succeeded, he was allowed to exist. And I get the perspective that Peter hates that. That he hated that Ender was allowed to exist to make up for him not being good enough.
Yep. Even worse is actually how the whole social media thing goes down, the Lock and Demosthenes thing. Because Peter deliberately sets it up so Valentine is making all of the off-the-cuff, over-the-top, indefensible arguments so he can swoop in and be the reasonable moderate who he wants everybody to listen to. But people like Demosthenes better than Locke, and Peter can't stand it.
Yep, Demosthenes is the first one to get recognized for anything. Demosthenes is the first one to be invited into public gathering, or into public speaking engagements. Demosthenes is the first one to start being quoted by respectable sources.
including their dad, which Valentine finds really, really funny, and Peter just sees.
Yep.
Which
And
I
Peter
just
made
find the
it-
whole thing like today. It's kind of a really weird two-bladed sword as to how, yes, let us blog to change the world, because on the one hand, no one really reads blogs anymore, but they do listen to podcasts and passively consume YouTube videos. So the social media thing was oddly prescient, if in an entirely inaccurate way, of just how people will mindlessly parrot what they hear on their social medias, so long as it reinforces something they already wanted to hear. It's just somebody else is saying it now.
The result was accurate. It was just the delivery method that was off. And
I kind of wonder if Card was trying to parody it, because I know blogs were starting to become a thing in the 80s with the proto-internet, but also the fact that he framed it so, look, the world is basically taking marching orders from a 12 and 10-year-old child. Ha 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 ha, look how dumb you are. Could be a very easy reading for that. Though I'm not sure if that's what he intended, considering, again, they're also said to be extremely smart, and he does put Peter in charge of the world at the end as a result. So yeah, even though Demosthenes is initially liked less, he gets that influence gradually.
Alright, I can go back and get that Komato weapon I passed on.
So it kind of leads to a really interesting intersection of the sociopathy and power, and how the internet's anonymity can really enable that, because Locke and Demosthenes can say all sorts of things that Peter and Valentine never could publicly, and even things that, like, Valentine herself doesn't believe when she writes. There is no guarantee of sincerity from these pundits, yet people do not stop to think about that, because they're getting told exactly what they want to hear. The soundbite they need to justify whatever they want to justify.
And we even see this when we find that the military has identified them. That the military is like, we found out who they are. They are these two kids who are related to Ender. So it's unsurprising that they are clever enough to come up with this. Oh, right. This is where the Komato were. But at the same time, these two kids are having these insights that... Oh, that's Taz and Ken. Whoops. Anyway, these two kids are having these insights, and the entire world is following along their puppet strings. And they basically say, we're just going to let it happen because it's useful to us. And because it would be problematic for our plans with Ender to call out his siblings for making trouble.
Sorry, 14 and 12. I just found the part where they're discussing that, yeah.
Oh, hello.
Ah, yes, Asha. Yeah, I like how they've identified who Locke and Demosthenes are, but they mixed them up. Their abilities are virtually identical with the Wigan, only their temperaments are different. What surprised them, however, was the orientation of the two personas. Demosthenes is definitely the girl, but Graf says the girl was rejected for battle school because she was too pacific, too conciliatory, and above all, too empathetic. Definitely not Demosthenes, and the boy has the soul of a jackal. Wasn't it Locke that was recently appraised as the only truly open mind in America? So, I kind of wonder if that was deliberate on Peter's part, is just to basically have their personalities be mismatched with their online personas, specifically to make it harder to prove it's them specifically, because if asked point blank, are you Demosthenes? No. Even though it's exactly the sort of thing that Peter would have said. So, yeah. And it basically just starts to give a further handle on Ender, because they basically blackmail Valentine with, we know who Demosthenes is, to get her to write to Ender to motivate him to not give up hope with the battle school situation having gone very, very south. So, yeah, sociopaths all around using each other, and everybody else gets caught in the middle with no real recourse because they don't have the they don't have their hands on the puppet strings the way that the people who shouldn't do.
Please tell me I can get some ammo.
Use your buster gun. It's hit one twice. Yeah, that's for some reason pretty good against him if you can get him close. But you have to actually hit him.
This guy is stupid fast.
But yeah, I think we've kind of exhausted this topic and gone in circles, so I'll just be quiet till the end of the fight.
Is he teleporting? Is that what he's doing?
Yes, the assassins can teleport.
Ooh, that was close.
I think he's not warded against rocket launcher right now, but that's a slower weapon.
Up
Okay,
he is.
Alright, well. You're doing a different stat layout than I usually do. I've usually got the Duke by now. Which ends this very quickly.
Problem is, he keeps making me jump, and then I can't shoot because I'm in the air.
Yeah, you have to wait till he gets in like a landing position like that, and then you can duck. Because it always telegraphs like where he's gonna fire, like if it's gonna be up or down. Or if he's gonna be right next to you with a sword. Yeah, the assassins are really annoying.
At least I'm hitting him. You have to spurt some blue blood or anything to...
And him yelling oof. And the health bar going down, yes.
Well, his health bar goes down a lot slower than I expected it would.
Yeah, the shotgun's not an exceptionally powerful weapon, but it is one you can actually use well against assassins. Like, Buster Gun's more powerful, but you ran out of ammo for that because you have been priming Assimilate. There you go. Alright, seems like a good place as any to stop, and we shall resume next time.
See you then.